He was born the strongest, but that strength came at a price. From childhood isolation to overwhelming power, Gojo Satoru shaped the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, and in the end, it cost him everything. This is the rise, the burden, and the fall of the man who stood against fate itself. And since I'm a Gojo fan, and let's be real, who isn't, I had to make him a video like Sukuna's. Maybe even better. So, grab your favorite snacks and get ready, because we're diving headfirst into the story of the strongest. Satoru Gojo's grand entrance into the world wasn't just a birth. It was an event of seismic proportions, marking him as a prodigy born once every few centuries. His very existence was said to have instantly disrupted the delicate balance of the Jujutsu world, inadvertently strengthening curses and generally making life complicated for everyone else. This immediate and profound impact set him apart from birth, signifying that his life would be anything but ordinary. He inherited two exceptionally rare and potent abilities unique to the Gojo family: Limitless and the Six Eyes. Gojo Satoru was the first member of the Gojo clan in approximately 400 years to be blessed with both of these formidable traits simultaneously, a testament to his absolutely unprecedented potential. From his earliest years, Gojo's extraordinary talent made him a constant bullseye for curse users and spirits. His abilities were instantly weaponized by the upper echelons of the Jujutsu societal hierarchy, effectively robbing him of a normal childhood. This early experience bred a deep-seated resentment towards the fuddy-duddy figureheads of the Jujutsu world. His teenage years were unsurprisingly characterized by rebellious behavior, a direct consequence of his anger and frustration at being denied the simple joy of being a child. This forced him into a role he didn't choose, immediately setting him apart. His early arrogance can be understood not merely as a personality quirk, but as a coping mechanism or an inevitable outcome of his unique and isolating position. This godlike superiority further distanced him from others, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of isolation. Gojo's student life at Tokyo Jujutsu High, under the tutelage of Principal Masamichi Yaga, provided a rare period of genuine connection. During this time, he formed his closest and arguably only true bond with Suguru Geto, who became his one and only best friend. They were described as inseparable, sharing a strong bond and mutual respect despite their contrasting personalities. Gojo, often reckless and cocky, and Geto, more composed and thoughtful. They engaged in various activities together, doing everything together, a stark contrast to Gojo's earlier isolated existence. The Hidden Inventory arc was a truly defining period for Gojo and Geto's relationship, and indeed for their individual character arcs. During their second year, they were assigned a critical mission: to guard and safely deliver Riko Amanai, the star plasma vessel, to Tengen. This mission was designed to be a pivotal point, shaping Gojo's path to becoming the strongest and setting the stage for Geto's eventual moral decline. Despite initial challenges, Gojo and Geto grew genuinely attached to Riko. They ultimately decided not to force her sacrifice to Tengen if she wished to live. However, before they could act on this decision, Riko was brutally assassinated by Toji Fushiguro. This tragic event served as a catastrophic turning point for both young sorcerers. It was like a giant game-over sign for their innocence. Against Toji, Gojo's near-fatal encounter proved to be a crucible. Faced with imminent death, he was forced to rapidly master the reverse curse technique. This mastery was a critical breakthrough, enabling him to sustain the continuous use of his limitless technique without exhaustion. It was basically the ultimate level-up moment. His subsequent rematch with Toji was an enlightenment, a moment where Gojo unlocked the full, true extent of his powers and achieved complete mastery over Limitless. This included the development and first use of Hollow Purple. This pivotal moment culminated in his iconic declaration: "Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one," a statement that cemented his rightful claim to the pinnacle of the Jujutsu world. The shared trauma of Riko's death and Toji's attack led Gojo and Geto down drastically different, ultimately divergent paths. For Gojo, his near-death experience and Riko's demise ignited a greater sense of empathy and a profound realization of his responsibility to protect non-sorcerers. He resolved to become the strongest sorcerer possible, focusing on preventing similar tragedies, even if his methods were, at times, a bit intense. Conversely, for Geto, the same events, compounded by the constant unpleasant consumption of cursed spirits and the sight of humans celebrating Riko's death, triggered a profound psychological spiral. His initial empathy for non-sorcerers twisted into deep resentment, leading him to adopt a sorcerer supremacist ideology. He came to believe that the world would be better if purged of all non-sorcerers. The chasm between the two friends widened significantly as Gojo's newly awakened powers catapulted him far ahead of Geto, leaving Geto feeling defeated, isolated, and unable to keep pace. Their ideological clash reached its tragic climax in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, where Gojo was ultimately forced to confront and kill Geto. This final act underscored Gojo's deep reluctance and the enduring bond he felt for the only person who had ever truly understood him. Gojo's decision to become a teacher at Tokyo Jujutsu High wasn't a casual undertaking, but a deliberate and strategic choice. His ultimate ambition was to reset this crappy jujutsu world and fundamentally reform its corrupt system. He believed that simply eliminating the higher-ups, while certainly within his capabilities, wouldn't create a sustainable order. Instead, he envisioned a bloodless revolution achieved through education. By investing his time and talent into cultivating a new generation of powerful, like-minded sorcerers who could eventually flourish and lead the jujutsu community. This reflects a significant maturation of his worldview, moving beyond brute force to a strategic, generational approach to change. Gojo's teaching, therefore, was not merely a profession, it was his life's mission, a testament to his evolved sense of responsibility and a direct attempt to break the cycle of exploitation and isolation within the jujutsu world. It was his way of combating the loneliness of being the strongest by creating a future where others might not have to bear that burden alone. Gojo famously saved Yuji from immediate execution after he became Sukuna's vessel, recognizing his potential and enrolling him in Jujutsu High. Gojo also assumed a parental guardian role for Megumi at the young age of 17. Following the tragic death of Megumi's father, he protected Megumi and his sister from being sold to the Zenin clan and provided training and care. Gojo treated Megumi with a blend of subtle encouragement and tough love, recognizing immense potential that Megumi himself often underestimated. He was basically the coolest and most powerful, reluctant dad ever. Gojo intervened to save Yuta from execution, transferring him to Jujutsu High to help him control his potent, cursed energy. He adapted his mentorship to Yuta's sensitive and empathetic nature, actively encouraging him to form peer connections to combat his inherent isolation. Gojo's unwavering loyalty and protective stance towards Yuta were evident when he bluntly defied the higher-ups concerning Yuta's fate, making it clear he would not allow them to harm his student. Despite Gojo's deep care for his students and the strong bonds he formed with them, a subtle yet persistent layer of isolation remained. He could guide, protect, and inspire, but the kind of true peer-level understanding, the reciprocal intellectual and emotional connection he once shared with Geto, remained largely absent. This implies that while his teaching addressed societal flaws and protected others, it did not fully resolve his personal loneliness. Even the strongest needs a real buddy. The Shibuya incident stands as one of the most traumatic and pivotal events in Jujutsu Kaisen, meticulously orchestrated by Kenjaku, with the primary objective of sealing Satoru Gojo in the prison realm. It was basically a supervillain's elaborate trap, starring Gojo as the unsuspecting mouse. The critical moment for Kenjaku's plan arrived when he appeared, inhabiting the body of Gojo's deceased best friend, Suguru Geto. The sight of Geto's familiar form and the sound of his voice completely froze Gojo, triggering a flood of shared memories and profound emotional shock. This emotional vulnerability, a stark contrast to his usual invincibility, provided the precise minute required for the prison realm to activate and seal him. Gojo was sealed indefinitely in the prison realm at 9:26 p.m. on October 31st. Kenjaku's plan to seal Gojo was not a direct power confrontation, but a psychological assault. He exploited Gojo's emotional attachment to the people closest to him, and what could be perceived as a moment of sudden cockiness, but more profoundly, his deep emotional vulnerability. Sukuna's ultimate strategy revolved around Mahoraga's adaptation to Gojo's Limitless, creating the necessary opening for his final attack. The critical miscalculation on Gojo's part occurred after he seemingly defeated Mahoraga. At this moment, Gojo became cocky and let his guard down, believing that Sukuna could no longer bypass his infinity. This hubris, a recurring vulnerability for Gojo, provided Sukuna with the crucial window he needed. Sukuna then unleashed a new, devastating technique, the slashes that cut the world. This attack was designed to bypass Limitless by extending its target to space, existence, and the world themselves, rather than directly targeting Gojo. This unprecedented attack resulted in Gojo being tragically sliced in half. Ouch. Following his death, Gojo found himself in a poignant, ethereal airport scene conversing with Geto and his other late friends. In this moment, he reflected on his life, his strength, and the solitude that comes with being the strongest. He used an analogy of flowers, which can be interpreted as his own objectification due to his overwhelming strength and his inherent inability to truly connect with his students due to the vast power disparity between them. This scene depicts his acceptance of his fate, suggesting it was the natural conclusion where he finally loses. The imagery of the empty airport in later depictions suggests that he and his friends moved on officially into the afterlife. Satoru Gojo's life, defined by unparalleled strength, was a profound journey marked by both immense influence and a pervasive sense of isolation. His impact on the Jujutsu world is undeniable, making him the most influential character, not just to the fans, but also within the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. His legacy endures primarily through his students, whom he meticulously raised and profoundly affected. They are now tasked with fulfilling his ultimate dream of a reformed, more equitable Jujutsu society. Gojo's strategic vision was to change the corrupt system of the world by nurturing a new generation of sorcerers. While he ultimately fell in his final battle against Sukuna, the subsequent events in the narrative, where the war is over and Gojo can finally be put to rest, with no adversaries for him to fight, demonstrate a higher-order form of victory. His team withstood everything Sukuna could throw at them, defeating Kenjaku, shutting down the culling game, and stopping the merger with Tengen. This outcome reveals that Gojo's personal survival was secondary to the success of his overarching plan for societal reform and the empowerment of his students. His death, therefore, functions as a profound sacrifice that enabled the true victory of his vision, marking a shift from individual might to collective strength. He truly was the greatest teacher, even in death.